Hi guys, this is Debbie with Debbie J's Crafting Corner. Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm trying out the Dogwood etched dies from the Garden Favorites collection by Susan Tierney. You've seen me use a couple of her other sets, and those flowers, those dimensional flowers, turn out so lovely. And these are the first times I've ever tried doing anything like this. So that's just proof for you that if I can do this, you can too. I went ahead and cut out a bunch of pieces using the die sets, and now I'm following her video instruction to create the pretty little dogwood blossoms. So the first thing that I'm doing on the blossoms is adding this little bit of red in this little, basically this little groove that Susan just designed in these die cuts, which I think is just a fabulous idea, the way that she makes them fit perfectly for an alcohol marker. And you just add a little bit of red there. Now, when I was growing up, we had a dogwood tree at my grandparents' house, and one of the things that my mom taught me about it was that little bit of red, which was one way that you could tell the blossoms. This technique adds that little bit of red before you go to shape your little blossoms. Next, I colored the branch with a couple of brown markers. I'm just running it over with the wide tip of my marker so I can get the color down pretty quick and pretty evenly. Next, I'm adding a little bit of light green to the center of the petal shapes just to give them a little dimension. Next, I'm going to color up some of the greenery. There are these little tiny star-shaped pieces that are, I think she called it a codex. I'm not 100% sure what they're called, but basically what it is where the flower is attached to the branch, there's this little cup piece of, looks kind of like little petals that wrap around the base. So it's basically where the bud had opened and the flower came out. So I'm coloring each of those guys up with a green marker. Then I went on and colored up all of my leaves with a green marker as well. Now that all the coloring is done, which you could definitely skip if you decided to cut everything out of colored cardstock, I'm going to go ahead and cup those little, I'm going to call it a codex, although I'm not sure if that's the name. I'm cupping those by just putting it on an eraser and using a medium ball stylus to just cup the little piece in. Next, I'm going to start putting everything together. I'm using a white card base and a scrap of pattern paper as my background, and then I decided to use a die from the large die of the month from December to act as, in my mind, I think it looks like a trellis, so that's what I'm going to use it for. I think this is so pretty, which means your dies can be very versatile. First thing I'm going to layer down is just the branch that I colored up earlier. I'm adding that onto the card, kind of covering part of that trellis. And next I'm going to add those little calyxes. Yes, I got the word right finally. I'm going to add the little calyxes to different places on the branches so that I can add my flowers. I'm still pretty new at this, and I am getting a little bit better each time when I'm practicing. So what I'm doing at this point is just using that medium ball stylus to kind of shape the petals. What it really, to me, what it looks like I'm doing, or what it feels like I'm doing when I do this, is I'm breaking down the fibers in the paper and making everything kind of, I guess, softer, and that makes the petals look a little more realistic instead of just that flat paper, because they curl up in kind of an organic way. I don't think there's an actual completely right or wrong way to do this, because if your flowers turn out pretty, that's all that really counts. It's not going to look exactly like a real flower, but I am giving it a shot. Now I'm going to kind of pinch the petals around my tweezers so that I can kind of roll the edges of those petals back a little bit more to give it, again, a little bit more of an organic look. Then I will put the two pieces, because each of these dies comes with separate pieces of the flower. I'm going to go ahead and glue a couple of those together. Before gluing them together, I cup them in the center so that it is a little bit of a pinched look in the center, and so they fit together nicely. Once each of those flowers have dried, the glue holding the two pieces together, I can go ahead and put those into each of the little calyxes, which is the part that attaches the flower to the branch. So I'm going to go ahead and add all of my little flowers on and then go on to the next step. Next, I'm working on the stamens. Now, the piece that is die cut out it's like a stick with these little pieces that pop up above it. Turns out that the stamens on this die are actually thicker. The die cut part is thicker than what the stamens need to be. So I am trimming each of those little guys in half. So I'm splitting them in half and kind of just fluffing them out so that they'll look cool once I get them inserted into the flower. So next I'm going to grab the end with my tweezers and add a little bit of glue along this the connection part, and then just roll them up. So you basically have got a more solid piece at the bottom, then you have all the little stamens popping up, and then once I get it all rolled up, I'll remove my tweezers so that I can kind of pinch it to make sure that everything adheres well before I place it into the center of my flower. Now, if you have the pollen pieces, which I can't remember what they're called, I think it's just pollen, and you can get some from Spellbinders, you can add some pollen pieces to the end of those little tiny stamens before you put them in your flower. I don't have that, so I'm just going to leave it as is. Next, I'm going to shape all of my little leaves to go onto the panel with the flowers. This is pretty much the same way as in the other videos that I've done using one of Susan's kits. You basically are using the sharp-ish edge, don't do a real sharp one or you're cut right through, of a ball stylus and drawing the lines on, and then I'm using the ball end to curve up from the underside so it's kind of shaped like a little leaf. Next, I just add those into my panel behind my flowers, just so that it gives it a little bit more greenery. Now, the dogwood, when they are in bloom, doesn't really have a whole lot of leaves, so once the blossoms fall off is when it gets really full with all of the greenery. So it really is completely up to you how many of these little leaves you want to add on to it. I love how I'm getting better and better at assembling these 3D floral cards. They are just so pretty, and I am having a lot of fun trying this new to me technique. If you want to see some more of those other cards where I made some adorable little flowers using one of Susan's kits, be sure to check out this Spellbinders playlist here. You guys have a wonderful day, and remember, if I can do it, or rather if I can make it, you can too.